This is Arts Alive. I'm Lynda Philippi. My guest today is Mike Santone, and Mike is here to talk about, among other things, we're going to start with paper gardens. Welcome.
Hi, I'm back again.
Back again for paper gardens. And this is what, it's 20-something year?
23rd year, I think.
Great, okay.
Yeah, still going on. The books are beautiful, handmade by Maryland Works.
Mm-hmm.
And the writing contest is countywide. Schools, 6 years old up to 106.
I love it.
So the grade schools, we have 3 categories: children, 6 to 12, youth, 13 to 17, and then adults.
Mm-hmm.
And like all the other years past, we have prose and poetry entries.
And there's different categories of...
Different categories: traditional
Right.
poetry, which is, you know, mostly
Right.
rhymes,
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, sonnets and those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
Free verse, which is whatever you want, which is very popular. Then haiku, which is traditional Japanese. And last year we tried another traditional, actually an older Japanese poetry called tanka, but nobody entered.
You know, well, here's the thing. At Terroir, the Creative Writing Festival, I took that Tonka writing workshop. I thought it was wonderful.
It was wonderful, but we didn't get any
Really
applicants.
amazing.
So nobody entered. So we scrapped that.
Too bad. I would have had the only entry and I would have won.
And then we have Poetry of Place.
Okay. Right.
And our judge this year for poetry is Pauline Peterson, who's a former poet laureate, and she was very gracious in accepting being a judge for us.
Great.
Which is really great. Last year we had one judge for everything, and it made it harder for the judge.
Sure, that's a lot, big commitment.
Yeah, and just the interest. So this year we have Pauline Peterson for the poetry, and then prose. We've had him on, and he was here not too long ago. Sam Brown.
Yeah.
He's our poetry judge.
Oh.
Or prose judge.
That'll be fabulous.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And with prose, we have a short story. Everybody do a short story, and we get some great short stories. And then something called creative nonfiction, which is sort of memoir or whatever. It's really pretty open-ended. Essay,
yeah.
But then we also added essay of place.
Oh.
Focused pretty much on Yamhill County.
Oh,
Same
great.
with poetry of places, focused on
Wow.
Yamhill County.
Okay.
So we're hoping that we'll get, we got some wonderful entries last year in both the creative nonfiction, because that's kind of a journalism term as well. So it lends itself to stories and as well as, but kind of personal. And then this year, also, back in 2006, when I last did Paper Gardens coordination, we had a component of it for images, black and white, that were going to be published. And I really like that idea of reaching out to artists and giving them a chance. So this year, we have a judge, Phyllis Bradner, and it's black and white, both drawing and photography.
Oh, okay.
that will fit in the book. And the idea is to just have the image be part of, not necessarily illustrating a story, but just having art be part of the book, part of the chapbook.
Sure.
And there'll be an awards ceremony for the artists as well as certainly for the writers. We have that, all of those dates are scheduled.
Okay.
Let me talk a little bit about the contest itself.
Sure.
We'll open probably in about 2 weeks.
Okay.
So it's middle of September, and the deadline will be February 10th. Everybody waits till February 9th.
Of course they do.
But February 10th.
And then you get a big, it's like Santa's mail bag.
Yeah. And so February 10th, and then we'll get them to the judge, and the judge has until the last part of March. And then we'll make up a book, and it's going to be another really nice Maryland Works book for an award ceremony at the Chemeketa Community College on April 17th, Friday. The following Saturday, of course, is the Terroir Writing Festival.
Yeah.
And a lot of people go to both.
I thought that was a really nice way to play it. I mean, that's perfect transition,
Yeah.
you know, to do it that way.
And I don't know, last year they had a workshop where people came to a workshop with Pauline Peterson and studied some poetry, and then entered that in Paper Gardens.
Oh, okay.
And then they also then came to the Terroir thing the next day. Whether the Terroir folks are going to set that up or whether we are with Paper Gardens, because we're separate,
Right.
separated equal.
Yes.
But it really does make a nice blend
Oh,
of,
it really does,
of
yeah.
writers. The contest encourages writing, and then certainly Terroir furthers that encouragement with information and those kinds of things. So it's a great thing.
It's kind of nice to just wrap it all into one big sort of literary festival weekend,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, and make a splash.
It's really
like
nice.
that.
And April is National Poetry Month. So that's why we try to do it in April. In years past, we've done it in May, given ourselves a little more time, but the last few years we've done it in April.
Are you going to do your poetry thing again?
My poetry thing.
Poem a day?
Poem a day. We're talking with Phoebe Newman about maybe an audio radio.
Oh, I
program.
love it.
But we haven't got past that. We'll probably not film this year.
Yeah.
It just, we'd be filming already.
Sort of the Garrison Keillor thing. I love that.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, the Poet's Corner.
Yeah.
I love that. That's great.
Exactly. And of course, she did that, a radio program for 10 years in Alaska called One Poem a Day Won't Kill You. So maybe she'll start that again. Part of it is finding a radio station. But maybe one of the radio stations will work with us. Because we can record it.
Right.
And just take them the tapes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun project.
Sure.
That really was. So, recap Paper Gardens. It started in 1992 with William Stafford as the first judge. Every year, you did it in 2000 and 2001. I did it in 2006. Every year, we've been able to find a coordinator or a chair to fill the role, and then a committee comes forth. This year, Gail Watson, who's usually behind the camera, here is our designer, and Deborah Weiner, who's the retired principal of
Memorial,
and Melissa Terrell, who's works at Patent Middle School. That's our committee this year.
Oh, great. Okay.
And so we'll be starting. The school districts require now the applications to be translated into Spanish. And luck would have it, we have found a lady named Danielle Burgas who lived in Chile for 18 years.
Great.
And she's translated the applications for us.
Okay.
Okay. So we will be able to go to the school districts and we'll be handing things out and
Perfect.
having posters. and
That's
those
great.
things.
I love it.
Yeah.
How fun.
So that's it. Real quick recap. February 10th is the deadline for Paper Gardens. April 17th is the award ceremony. Poetry, prose, images. We'll be asking for them to come in, and they'll be all coming to me, and then we'll go to the judges.
Wonderful. That's fabulous.
I also, of course, do...
Switching hats a little.
Yeah, switching hats. I'm also on the Art Harvest Studio Tour, which people have been hearing about recently.
Sure.
And, you know, I've been on it for, I think this is the 10th or 11th year.
Okay.
And I make masks and faces. This is
And
one.
they're really cute and
This is-
different and interesting and fun.
This is one, but I brought some images to show that that are on the PowerPoint.
Okay. So he can
the-
show them when he's ready.
Yeah, he can show them. They,
I like this one.
yeah, I make the thing I wanted to also mention was I usually my wife Elizabeth is also an artist, and we used to show next to one another. But this year we're showing actually together. So her studio is actually right at our house, right behind my pottery,
Okay.
at 8070 Northwest Meadow Lake Road,
Okay.
which is different than where she had been showing.
Okay.
So the tour is one of those experiences where you get to interact with people as they're interacting with the faces and the art and stuff that you've made. Just like with Paper Gardens, where at the award ceremony people get to read and then the audience reacts. It's the same kind of situation with the tour. People come into the studio and they respond to the image, and it's unique because they respond from their own experience.
Exactly.
I tend to make faces, right? So people read in the faces from their experience.
And you brought some images.
I did bring some images,
So,
yes.
Paul can
could
flash
probably
those.
bring them up.
Here we
There's
go.
one. That's an image that has got a story behind it. I went to Sheridan School and we made faces,
Oh, how fun.
okay? And I told them, okay, the faces are fine, but I want a story about how the face came about. So they wrote me these stories. So then I said, okay, so I had to write a story back
Okay. Okay.
on him.
I love it.
And without going into a long thing, but anyway, it was great because I got some wonderful stories.
Oh, how fun. Yeah.
Wonderful stories.
Oh, look at that one.
Now that's a hat made by my wife. She does felt, and we were feeling very Paris bear.
I like it.
You know?
Yeah.
He's kind of sad-eyed, but he's
Or maybe he's
thoughtful.
just jaded.
Jaded.
A
yes, the
jaded
Paris.
Frenchman. Yeah.
Yes, the Paris bear.
I love it.
And this is another one of my creatures that are sort of crossover. Anyway, the faces are fun to watch people interact. They're priced reasonable, so people give them for gifts and those kinds of things. But the tour is a unique experience because I get to also demonstrate the things. And the tour this year is the first 2 weekends in October. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 10 o'clock, I wish it was 11, 10 o'clock to 6.
Right.
Yeah, it's a long day.
Of course.
But it's fun, and especially if the weather's nice. A lot of times the weather is beautiful, those first 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah. Typical.
And so we have a good time. It's fun. So I'm really busy.
Yeah, of course you are. Yeah.
In September and October,
This is
busy
a crazy time for you.
doing paper gardens and getting ready for the tour, which means I have to clean up the studio and hang everything up and make stuff and so but one of the things about being retired is not retiring.
Just
But being
pursuing a
busy-
new passion. You
Being
know, we're,
busy all the time.
and sadly we're out of time, so we'll have to catch up with you again.
You will.
Thank you so much, Mike.
Okay, thanks.